The lucrative world of social media is something that generations to come won't be able to avoid. I will now be discussing with Marley Seabern, a sophomore at Chapman University, majoring in communications through her endeavors of online bullying, therapy, and how much it means to her to look away from the screen.
I'm Marley Seabern.
And where do you go to school?
Chapman University.
What are you majoring in?
I am a communication major. I love traveling, the beach, my friends, family, animals. I feel like that and together is like my passions, but I also have like another side of me that loves art and music and writing. And so I have very like beachy and adventure, but then kind of like artsy. So I did semester at sea my second semester of freshman year of college. But I was at a point in my life where I knew I needed to make a change. Like I knew I needed to go out there and find myself. And I did, and it was an adventure, and there was a lot of ups and downs. It was really hard at some points, but it all ended up being like, at the end of the day, very beneficial. And I just came back like from that voyage a completely different person. It changed my perspective on social media because I saw these people in a whole new light, and then we went to port for the first time and I started following them on Instagram, and I was like, that is just really weird getting to know a person first before. Usually you always see someone's Instagram first. I don't know how that happens, but like we live in a world where it's like we know people before we meet them. Coming back was actually really hard. Culture shock is huge. We learned a lot about it going into it because we were going to so many countries so fast, but the biggest culture shock I experienced was coming home. I had a really hard time connecting with people because I felt like I was a new person and that people had to get to know like the new me. Sitting down and like scrolling through Instagram felt weird. And being with people and then being on their phones, I was like, what are you guys doing? Like we should be talking and having conversations like this rather than just being like, oh, look at this TikTok, look at this new Instagram post I saw. None of it seemed relevant to me at all. And I never really was fazed by it until my senior year. I struggled with depression for my first time, so I went off social media. And I only planned on going off of it for like 2 weeks. I ended up staying off of it for 6 months. And that, like, the biggest thing I learned was just we should not know what people are doing all of the time. And it makes it harder to be ourselves. But also when you're always putting forth this like perfect image, this image that you want people to see you as, you're gonna start to think that's you, and you're gonna get like really insecure when you're not actually living up to like what your social media is saying. So I had COVID in early December, and my biggest symptom I struggled with was I had no appetite, and when I did manage to eat, I just could not keep it. I'd be sick for the rest of the day. And so I ended up losing a lot of weight. And then I posted a picture on Instagram, and everyone had something to say about it. You can tell on Instagram how many people have sent your photos, and it's the most I've ever had anyone send my photos. My mom even commented like the COVID diet, just to let people know I didn't have an eating disorder. All anyone could talk about was just that I had lost some weight. And it's just mind-blowing because that seems to be the goal. It seems to be what people want people to do. They want thin, attractive people around, but then you lose weight, you have an eating disorder. You gain weight, well then you need to lose weight. Like you cannot win. So what blew my mind was losing weight and then kind of regretting that, because people, even growing up in like my household, it was always like, you want to stay thin, you want to stay fit. And then I lost a lot of weight, and I was like, when people would comment on how skinny I was getting, I was like, just go eat an entire pizza, you know? Like they made me feel like I needed to gain weight, and it was just a trip. Like it's impossible because they want you to be thin but thick at the same time, or they want you to be poised and bold, or you can come off as confident but you have to be modest at the same time. Like you can't win.
All in all, me and Marley pretty much talked for 3 hours, and the footage that I got was insane, and a lot of it was almost too conversational to make it easy to cut up and put in as an interview, but I learned so much about her and so much about myself too, because she talks in a way of life that everybody needs to understand, to go and live your life and to travel and to find yourself, and to, most importantly, what she wanted to note was that you need to love yourself before you can pretty much do anything else, which is really, really inspiring to me. And also, another cool thing that I wanted to add was that she chose the colors for her interview, which was really cool because thought these colors were really cool, these filters that I was using as lights and just mainly as B-roll. But then she's like, no, I like these lights. It's the blue almost represents social media for me because it can be such a beautiful color, but also it can emote certain emotions that are kind of sad if you look at it for too long, which I thought was a cool thing in my eyes. Yeah, so next time I'm going to be talking to a signed model to an agency, a male, and that's going to be interesting to see his take on body image and social media for him, not being a female. So we will see.